The early money seems to be siding with the Pittsburgh Steelers in Week 13 as they host the New York Giants on Sunday, December 4th. In Week 13, NFL action. It feels like the Pittsburgh Steelers may be back after 2 consecutive wins. The Steelers started 2-0 and then got blown out by the Eagles. They won 2 more and then lost 4 straight. Now they're on their 2-game winning streak into a favorite role against the visiting New York Giants, who are 8-3 with 6 straight wins. Pittsburgh has been bet up from -4.5 to -6 for Sunday's matchup. The New York Giants are 8-3 straight up, but they are 6-5 against the spread. They've actually been on a nice against the spread run here in recent weeks, covering 5 of the last 6 during their 6-game winning streak. There are not a whole lot of people buying in based on the early week betting action, but it's hard to argue with what the Giants have done against the number since mid-October. Points have been tough to come by for the Giants this season, even though Eli Manning has a variety of quality weapons in the passing game. But the balance has not been there. The Giants have 413 passing attempts against just 254 rushing attempts, which makes a lot of sense when you consider that the Giants have rushed for just 3.4 yards per carry on the year. 5 teams have fewer rushing attempts than the Giants, but only the Vikings have fewer rushing yards. Eli Manning has been forced to shoulder the offensive load. Manning has completed 63.2% of his throws with a 20-10 touchdown-interception ratio. He's only been sacked 13 times, so the offensive line has done well in pass protection. 4 of Manning's 10 pickoffs came in the first 4 games of the season, and only 4 of his touchdowns, so he has a 16-6 touchdown-interception ratio since the matchup against Minnesota. The Giants' defense has been fantastic this season. They've held the opposition to just 3.5 yards per carry on 278 tries, and they've limited opposing quarterbacks to a 58.6% completion rate. The Giants are 7th in the NFL with just 5.1 yards allowed per play. They've done it all while only forcing 14 takeaways, which is right in line with the league average this season. New York's defense is tied with Philadelphia and Dallas in terms of points allowed. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 6-5, both straight up and against the spread. The Steelers have won when they've covered and lost when they have not. They're 8-3 to the under, which could be something to look at in this game with the Giants team that is also 8-3 to the under. The Giants defense should get a stiff test this week from Ben Roethlisberger and company. Big Ben has a 65% completion rate with a 23-7 touchdown-interception ratio on the season. He missed a game with a torn meniscus and was without Le'Veon Bell for the first 3 games of the season. But now that Pittsburgh is healthy, their lack of explosiveness has to be concerning. The Steelers only have 2 runs of 20-plus yards, and one belongs to Darius Hayward-Bay on a gadget play. With that run, Hayward-Bay is 3rd on the team in rushing yards with 60. Antonio Brown has caught 82 of his 121 targets for 998 yards and 10 touchdowns, but he has not gotten much help from the other receivers. Le'Veon Bell is the 2nd leading receiver by far, with 57 catches for 437 yards. It feels like the perception of this offense is inflated off of the past seasons. They are still tied for 8th in yards per play though, but it does not feel like the same group. The Steelers' defense is not very good, and there could be a big matchup to exploit this week when rookie Artie Burns on Odell Beckham Jr. Pittsburgh's defense is right around the middle of the pack with 5.7 yards allowed per play. They are average across the board in most defensive statistics, but they're not getting any semblance of a pass rush with 24 sacks, 8 of them in just 1 game against Cleveland. Pittsburgh is tied for 21st in opponent's completion percentage, which is the key stat this week because the Giants do not run the ball very often. Pittsburgh's offense is being overrated, but it's the Giants' running game that is underrated. Over the last 3 games, the Giants have rushed for 122, 102, and 104 yards. That has more than doubled their output of a 100-yard rushing game over the course of the season. They are more balanced offensively right now, and that helps out the defense. Pittsburgh is not a team ready to blow out their opponents, especially one with an above-average defense. Our pick and prediction is for the New York Giants at +6. For our pick and prediction on this game and every other game this week, and a wealth of free stats and information, check out bangthebook.com.